Hey guys, Forever 1985 here, and I have decided to do my answer question to the my Q&A session to the put up not very many ask me questions, but I think I got plenty of questions I need to answer here on this one. So start down from the bottom of the list here. Or actually, it starts from the top of the list, actually. Excuse me on this one. I may do another one here. I may do another question and answer session. Here sometime, but yeah. Anyway, so here's the questions I got asked here. The first one comes from TA2, which is that'd be Pichu London, I think. First question: who inspired you to do Inter 2003 leagues? Excuse me. Well, what inspired me to do it? It was one Saturday afternoon. I was bored. This is August 2011. This was one Saturday afternoon. I was bored, so I decided I got on YouTube and I was watching stop motion videos. I had done stop motions, but not NASCAR wise, actually. But then I saw something that was Inter 2003. First Inter 2003 series I actually really watched was Hendrick Van 54's Pepsi Racing Series, which unfortunately I don't think he does anymore. I think he had all of his videos. I think he removed all of his videos of the Pepsi Racing Series, I believe. But it was one of the best series I've watched, so I watched a lot of his videos at first. That Saturday afternoon. So that really was what inspired me to do an Inter 2003 series. Excuse me. Again. But he was the first series it was the first series I watched, and so after watching some of his races and learning how it was done, of course mainly the names of the drivers who signed up for the series instead of like saying, here comes Brad Keselowski inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and everything else. You say who signed up for the car. So that's how I knew. So that's really all I really needed to know as far as to do the series. But so one shortly thereafter, I think late August, I think, is when I got started to doing it. So and then about early September, I was at it for the first time. So that's how I got into doing Inter 2003 leagues, and what inspired me to do it. Second question from him: what do I use to record my races? Well, as you can see how I'm doing it right now, I do it with a camera. So the camera I'm using right now is the new camera I got in Christmas. I got a new video camera for Christmas, and it's the HD camera, I believe. So and if you watch some of the races since the new camera, though, it's actually better quality actually than the old one. The old one still works fine, but I use the camera for my races, and I think it's pretty much me, Galligan, and myself that's still the only one that uses the camera. So the best thing about doing a camera, though, is that you get to do effects yourself. As a matter of fact, on some of the stuff on the camera that you can't do, like say on Bandicam or Fraps. I would love to do Fraps for my series, but it seems a bit complicated to do it, and it takes up I think it takes up too much space for the computer and what have you. So but as much I would love to do Fraps, but I'm content to do it with a camera. So that's what there. Favorite Inter 2003 track? Well, if you go by NASCAR tracks, real NASCAR tracks, it would be definitely Talladega. Talladega's always been my favorite track on the NASCAR circuit, and that's it. You know, I mean, I like all the tracks on the circuit, but Talladega's always be my numero uno on my NASCAR track list. Now, if you talk about fictional tracks, favorite Inter 2003 fictional track, it would be like I said, got quite a few. I mean, I like Armory Digital Speedway. That's probably one of my favorites. I also like 8 Bowl Speedway, the Figure 8 Super Speedway, where it's bridged, of course, and excuse me. And I also like I like Thornton, even though I can never get it to work on my game, you know. So, but I like watching the races at Thornton. It's a very fun track. I never, like I said, I never played it because I can never get it to work on my game. Every time I tried to get it to work, it always kicks me out of the game. So I'm content with the do without Thornton for my series. Sorry guys if you're hoping for Thornton in any of my series. So, and also the track I've been into though lately is Black Hills Backroads, and the WCR version. It's on the Racing Graphics website, and it's a very fun track. It's a 10-mile track, kind of a Rushmore scene, it's kind of like a winterish type scene, with somewhere like as if you're somewhere in South Dakota. So yeah, it's a 10-mile racetrack set in wintertime, and I actually do advise y'all to give it a look. As a matter of fact, and you can do races on. It's actually a very fun track, and pretty cool, and it's one of those anything can happen. It's kind of like Thornton except for the turn of death. So there's no turn of death in Black Hills Backroads, but it's a track about like Thornton almost. So it's. Except it's all scenic routes. There's no city to it, so it's like as if you're driving in a excuse me, kind of like a national park, you know, like campsites or what have you. Well, anyway, you have to download the track yourself and find out. So let's just put it that way. Favorite Inter 2003 mod? Well, as you can tell, it's the Cup 90 mod. I love using that mod. I love using it for my series. That mod is the best. It's the DMR Racing is where I got it off of, and I also love using the Aero 88 mod. The reason why I like Aero 88 and the Cup 90 mods, it's more or less goes along to the cars I grew up watching, which was a late 80s or early 90s cars, and of course that's the mod I'm currently using right now in my Castrol GTX Cup Series. I also like the 2003 Cup mod, and especially the ones with the 1995 to the 2002 paint schemes. It's better used actually for I think the Cup 2003 mod is actually very perfect actually to do the late 90s Cup schemes on there actually, because they're about the same body style, and they're bullet cars, what they basically are. They're kind of like bullet style cars. So like using that. I may go back to the Cup 2003, and actually, the one I actually just downloaded the Cup 2000 mod, and I might go to that too. I'm having thoughts of Cup 2000 actually sometime in the future, so stay tuned for that. Although I would like to see some 90s cars done for the Cup 2000 mod. That would be pretty cool. Favorite nationwide mod would be the NWS 13 mod from Sim Racing Design. I know some people use the DMR nationwide mod for the 13s, but actually I use the Sim Racing mod, and always have, even back when I used to do a nationwide series. And favorite truck series mod obviously would be CTS 09, the same mod that Trent Dunham uses for his series, as well as Charles Sanford. So, and they race a whole lot better, I think. The CWS 13s are okay. I got kicked out of the game. The game kicked me out when I tried the 14 mod, and the CWS 14s, and that's why I don't bother to use the CWS 15, which is now out. So So that's how it is. So that's all my favorite mods I use for Inter 2003. Of course, I like the IndyCar mod, and also like the, and that's probably another one I like. So anyway, how many tracks have I been to? NASCAR tracks, only one, and that's Bristol. Of course, that's the only race I ever been to live, which was the 2000 Food City 500, and where Rusty Wallace got his 50th win. My driver at the time, Jeff Gordon, I thought he had that race won, actually. Had hit a tire on pit road with about 150 laps left, and had to come back in for another pit stop. That's back when we all went through the everybody hated Jeff Gordon deal. So, and I was basically the only Jeff Gordon fan even in existence at the time. So anyway, but unfortunately he still finished top 10 though that day. But Rusty Wallace won that day at Bristol, the only race I've been to live, and that was his 50th win, of course. But as far, I actually have seen the Indianapolis short track where they used to run trucks in the Nationwide and Truck Series at, which is adjacent to the Indianapolis drag strip where I went to this past summer, 14 for the U.S. Nationals. I actually saw the Indianapolis short track, and it's pretty cool to see that up close. And some of that track they use as a parking lot though for the drag races, so so I got to see that as well. Other than that, really, I have seen no other NASCAR track at all. You know, I would like to go to Kentucky Speedway, but my thing with the NASCAR track, I would love to meet a lot of the drivers. My thing is I'd like to meet the drivers. That's about how I am. The NASCAR seems like it's hard to do, and whereas at a drag race, I've been to about 4 drag races, I think. Yeah, I've been to 5 drag races actually. I've been to 5 of them in HRA, and and every ticket you buy is a pit pass. So you can go through the pits and meet the drivers up close, and it's the best kind of racing. And if you haven't experienced drag racing, I advise you to do so because it's a thrill like no other. Actually, so you'll have to see it to experience it. So Pichu, thank you for the questions. So that's all I can answer there. Next one comes from 867-530-9858X, and that would be, of course, Dylan Young. They're one of our main men in our 2003. First one, will I ever use the Gen 6? I've had that question asked many times, actually. Only if they ever come out with the car sets of between 1987 to 2000, then... Yeah, like if they do an 87 car set, an 88 car set, and so on down to 2000. For the Gen 6 mod, I will use the Gen 6. I'm more of a retro, old school NASCAR type of guy, which is why I've always seemed to use the 90s cars for series and stuff, and also the 80s cars, because I'm more of an old school NASCAR guy. I do actually, and if you are watching this video, somebody, I will advise you, well, not actually advise you, but I actually do have a couple of requests for the Gen 6 mods. That way my Gen 6 that way my Gen 6 retro collection would actually be complete somewhat. And be the number 52 Alka-Seltzer car of Jimmy Means from here, and you can Google up the cars if you want to, and the number 70 Rumpel Furniture car, the J.D. McDuffie car. Yes, I think of the 70 is somebody else besides Johanna Long, but the 70 Rumpel Furniture J.D. McDuffie car, and both of them can be on a Chevrolet since they were both on a Pontiac back in the day. That's the 2 requests I got. So if somebody wants to make those 2 cars, please do, because I actually do have a lot of. I'm actually about 2 cars short of the entire Gen 6 retro field. So stay tuned for the possibility of that as well for my Castrol GTX Cup Series. But you know, of course, my thing with the Gen 6 mod, everybody and their mother does the Gen 6 cars and of today's schemes, and I'm just not into anything like that. So that's probably why my series is probably the less popular of them all. So, but anyway, But I have nothing. I actually have nothing against the Gen 6 cars. If in case you're wondering on that, I actually think they're pretty cool cars. But thanks for the question on that, Dylan. His second question to me, other favorite drink, but other than Mountain Dew. Actually, I do have other favorite drinks other than Mountain Dew. As a matter of fact, Mountain Dew is my favorite drink It's my favorite drink. Second, if you go by sodas, second favorite would definitely be a tie between Mellow Yellow and Dr. Pepper. That'd be my two favorite. I mean, that'd be a tie for second as far as favorite sodas is concerned. I mean, I like drinking chocolate milk, and I like drinking Powerade. The Berry Blast flavor. And I actually like this drink. I actually made myself. If anybody knows the key lime water that you get like at Walmart, I actually like pour a couple of packs of the Kool-Aid cherry powder. Only thing I advise you to do if you do want to make something like that, if you pour two whole packs of them in there, is you might as well just make it with the bottle in the sink. So because it will overflow and you will spill it. So, but actually the key lime water actually tastes a lot like 7-Up, and the cherry flavor and the cherry Kool-Aid in the key lime water actually makes it taste like cherry 7-Up. So it's actually a pretty good drink. Yeah, Mountain Dew is my favorite drink of them all, and my two behind would be Mellow Yellow and Dr. Pepper. That's my three main drinks I like to drink. So I do have other favorite drinks besides Mountain Dew. My thoughts on Jeff Gordon retiring. It will be kind of weird after this year does not see the 24 car out there. I mean, Gordon was and still is one of my favorite NASCAR heroes from back in the day. I mean, he's not Richard Petty, and he's not Dale Earnhardt. And those two will always be my top two NASCAR heroes. And Gordon has always been my third best, no matter how many other races Jimmy Johnson wins. But I mean, even if Gordon never wins another race, or if he never wins another championship, I think Gordon has exceeded anything I expected of him. Because, I mean, I had never thought 92 wins. I had never thought that the 4 championships. I probably did kind of expect something like that. And, of course, 3, maybe possibly 4 Daytona 500s. This is February 9th as I'm recording it right now. But you know, whether he wins whether he never wins, whether he does or doesn't win another race or a championship, Jeff Gordon will always. If I had a NASCAR Hall of Fame, Gordon definitely is one of the tops on my list as far as all-time favorite drivers. I put him behind Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt on that list. So. But of course we thank Gordon, of course, for all the memories he gave us NASCAR fans ever since the 90s. And so that's my thoughts on it. Favorite driver back in the day again would be Jeff Gordon. That was my favorite NASCAR Cup driver back in the day. I still like Jeff Gordon, yes. And I actually. That was on the Cup side of things. I actually liked a lot of the Cup drivers back in the time, though. I like Jeff Gordon. I like Dale Earnhardt. Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart. Dale Jr. I liked him. Jeff Burton. Rusty Wallace. Yeah, and you name them pretty much. At that time, you name them, I liked them. I watched NASCAR a lot back in the 90s. That's when I first started watching it. About time Gordon come along. So, and as far as what was back then Busch Grand National, actually, it was before the Nationwide or Xfinity days. But I actually had a favorite. I actually had a Busch Series driver I liked Now this guy I liked about like I do Johanna Long now. As a matter of fact, is a guy by the name of Casey Atwood. I liked him. That was probably my first ever Busch Grand National, Nationwide, or Xfinity. You call it whatever you call it. And I liked him about like I do Johanna Long now. So, and, you know, excuse me. And I liked him. I liked him when he got in the Cup as well. You know, and of course, my thing on him, I think he can still drive. As a matter of fact, you know, he was the one who drove the 27 Castrol car, which is why I always like to do his cars as well. But you know, seemed like none of the car owners treated him fairly. As a matter of fact, you know, the only team that really treated Atwood fairly was the team that owned the Castrol 27, Bruco Motorsports. But you know, I mean, Evernham never treated him fair, or Fitz Bradshaw, who was the owner of Atwood's number 14 Navy car. They didn't treat him fair, and he was actually higher than his teammate in the standings, and they still let Atwood go. Had a couple should have won races and stuff, and he actually did win two Busch events back in '99 at Dover and Milwaukee. So, but that would have been my first ever favorite nationwide driver I like. What was that back then? Busch Series. So, and as far as trucks, yeah, a lot of people will probably bash me for this, but Jennifer Jo Cobb, yes, on the trucks, but I like a lot of the other truck drivers. I like Foot. Well, let's just say there's a lot of truck drivers I seem to like. You know, I'm personally feel sorry for a lot of the truck drivers anymore nowadays, since they're all losing to Kyle Busch anymore nowadays. So, but there is some talent I actually do like coming into NASCAR now. Guys like, you know, of course, everybody's talking about Chase Elliott. Everybody's talking about him, and Kyle Larson. That's probably my top two talents. That's in my book as far as NASCAR is concerned now. So, and I actually like those two as well. So, so that's comparing today and back then. So, but anyway, do I think Watkins Glen is getting more exciting? This is the last question from Dylan Young. Do I think Watkins Glen is getting more exciting? It seems like it lately. It actually kind of seemed like it lately. Best finish. I still say the best finish will always be 2012 between Brad Keselowski and Marcus Ambrose. That was the best Glen finish I ever seen in my life, and it was even better when Ambrose won that race. I mean, there's a couple times I actually thought, Brad's got it, you know, and then Marcus come on like gangbusters, I think, in the last couple turns, and I think beat him out. So that was awesome. That was an awesome finish. And of course, Rudimans crashed there in 11. That was bad. That was pretty. And actually, Glen's getting to be authorization of a couple of exciting yet horrifying wrecks. I mean, Rudiman wrecking there in 11, and I think Michael McDowell and Ryan Newman in last year. So it seems like the Glen is getting a little bit, I don't know if you want to call it exciting or rambunctious. I really don't know. But, and yeah, AJ Allmendinger's win there, that was especially after all he went through the last few years. I was actually happy to see AJ win that day. So, so yeah, the Glen's probably getting a little bit more exciting, I would think. Now, if they can make only the default 2003 version of the Glen was that exciting, is all I can say. So anyway, thank you, Dylan Young, for the questions. And the third guy is Mike Becker. His questions. Of course, Becker drives the number 19 car this season right now so far in the Castrol GTX Cup Series. And nice cars, thank you. Because you remember this, the video before that when I asked you to answer the questions, I had done Cup 90 cars with current Nationwide or Xfinity schemes on it. So thanks for the comment on that, Mike. I actually had I think 29 or 30 cars, I think, done in that series. So, 2 questions from Mike Becker. 1, have you thought about changing the racing so that there aren't passes for the lead every lap, and there aren't giant packs of cars? Well, don't know how to answer it that way. In any way, but actually, the passes for the lead every lap and the packs racing, track, it's probably that's great racing. You know, as long as there's not too many wrecks. That's my main concern, and especially on the plate tracks, because I do not like wrecks on the plate tracks in my series at Daytona or Talladega. But you know, I have actually gotten ripped, and I'm not going to name who all ripped me, but as far as trying to find a different type of track where there's not a wreck every lap, and I am asking for a better version of Richmond, actually, now, because people are saying the default Richmond game, the game default Richmond is causing too many wrecks. So I can't help it on Richmond. That's how it is. But please find a better version of Richmond or Michigan. I recorded a second Michigan race, and that ended up being a cluster, you know what. So, who says running a series is not? If anything running a series is easy, go try it. So, it's the way I look at it. But the passes for the lead every lap and the giant packs, that's actually good racing. Especially on the mile-and-a-half tracks like Charlotte or Texas, Atlanta, or Vegas. Now, if I can get Kentucky to run that way, because Kentucky, if you guys want to skip through Kentucky, both races, please, because they were both boring. I actually both recorded both those Kentucky races, and they were just boring as heck. So, I don't know how Trent got it to run it. I don't know how Trent Dunham got it to make it exciting racing there. But, so anyway, that was the first question. Second question, enjoyed the 1996 to 95 cars. Have you thought about doing 98, 97, 2000, 2001, or 2002 cars? Actually, I'm actually thinking about going back to that for season 14, Mike. And the first time I had the 95, 96 cars, I actually had some 97, 98, and 99s in there, actually, as a matter of fact. Because there's a lot of late 90s cars I actually did like and stuff. As far as 2000 to 2002 cars, yep, there was some I liked there. If I wanted to do 2000 to 2002, I actually am going to do it on the Cup 2000 mod, actually, as a matter of fact. And I actually picked out some of the cars from 2000 to 2002, that I liked there. So, yeah. But I am kind of thinking on that somewhat as well. So season 14, I'm actually thinking about going back. I'm going back to either the Cup 2003 mod with the late 90s schemes, or the Cup 2000 mod with 2000 to 2002 cars, or even stick with Cup 90. But 90, or if somebody can make me the JD McDuffie 52 or JD McDuffie 70 and the Jimmy Means 52 for the Gen 6 mod on a Chevrolet, please, and I will finally bring out the Gen 6 sometime for my series but I will keep it retro. That's all I can do. That's all I can do as far as that is concerned. But as far as using today's schemes, I'll just leave it on the Truck Series mods. Which, by the way, the Truck Series, I'm probably gonna even only do it one season. So I'm gonna go back to cutting it down to one series, and that's it. So anyway, that's the questions I got. If I may do another one sometime soon. So thank you very much for the questions, and I'll see you later.